Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm 47 years old, and in the last 2 years, I've lost over 150 pounds. For most of my life, holidays, vacations, and special occasions came with a lot of complicated emotions around food. They were supposed to be joyful, they were supposed to be times for connection, celebration, and making memories. But when you've struggled with your weight for a long time, those moments can also feel stressful. You might know the cycle. You try to be good before a trip. You worry about all the food you'll encounter. Then, when you're there, you think, well, I already messed up. So I might as well enjoy everything. And afterwards comes the guilt. The scale goes up, and suddenly a wonderful memory is mixed with shame and regret. I lived that cycle for years. But one of the biggest lessons of this journey has been realizing something. Health and happiness do not have to be enemies. You do not have to fear vacations. You do not have to fear holidays and celebrations and special occasions. And you do not have to choose between taking care of your health and fully participating in your own life. So, today I want to talk about how I'm learning to take the fear out of celebration and how this has become especially important as I now move closer to weight maintenance. Food has always been deeply intertwined with human connection. Across cultures and throughout history, food has been one of the important ways we celebrate, show love, and create memories. And that was definitely true in my family, and that's a good thing. Growing up, holidays were centered around good food. My parents loved hosting gatherings, and they wanted people to feel welcomed and cared for. There was always plenty of delicious food. And honestly, I think that's a beautiful thing. The problem wasn't that celebrations existed. The problem was that for someone like me, those celebrations could easily become another place where I felt like I was constantly fighting against my own body. For years, I thought the only options were two extremes. Either I had to be extremely strict or I had to completely let go. And neither one felt sustainable or was, because life is full of special occasions: birthdays, holidays, vacations, family gatherings, restaurant meals. And if your health plan only works when life is perfectly controlled, it isn't really a life plan. One of the biggest changes for me has been realizing that celebration does not have to mean abandoning myself or my goals. I don't have to think I'm either perfectly on plan or I've failed. That mindset kept me trapped for years. And instead, I'm learning to think, how can I participate in this moment while still caring for myself and my health? Because my goal was never to spend my life avoiding food or special occasions. My goal was to build a healthier life that I actually enjoy living. And that means learning how to bring my healthy habits with me wherever I go. Not leaving them behind when I walk into a restaurant, not abandoning them when I go on vacation, but also not putting my life on hold until I reach some perfect endpoint. Recently, my husband and I took a week and a half road trip through Utah. We visited some incredible parks, saw some amazing scenery, and spent a lot of time hiking and exploring outdoors. And this trip was actually a really important test for me because I made a deliberate choice. I took a break from extended fasting during the trip. Over the previous several months, extended fasting had been an incredible tool for me. It helped me lose a lot of weight. It helped me feel more in control around food and empowered that way. And it taught me that my body was capable of things I never previously imagined. But I also noticed that my body was starting to feel intuitively like it needed a break from fasting. I was feeling more depleted lately and just like my body wanted to pause a little. And I think sometimes we forget that listening to our bodies is also an important part of taking care of ourselves. And at the same time, I had been thinking more and more about maintenance lately anyway. Could I travel? Could I eat 2 meals a day instead of always doing longer fasts? Could I simply enjoy food, eat until satisfied, and trust myself around food? And could I do all that without regaining the weight I'd worked so hard to lose? And the answer was yes. I maintained my weight during that trip. During the trip, we did go to some restaurants that were known for having delicious local food choices, and I enjoyed those experiences. Because honestly, one of the reasons I worked so hard to improve my health was that so I could experience more of life. I didn't want to travel through beautiful places only to spend the entire time anxious about food. I wanted to enjoy the trip. So I made choices that worked for me. I ate foods I truly wanted and stopped when I was comfortably satisfied rather than being completely full. I maintained a 16-hour daily intermittent fasting window, and then I returned to my normal routine afterwards. No guilt, no punishment, no starting over, just living my life. And honestly, one of the best parts of that trip had almost nothing to do with food. It was hiking, it was being outside, it was seeing landscapes that years ago I worried I might not be able to experience the way I want to. And the scenery was just so beautiful and magnificent. That was always the real goal, not just a number on the scale, but a bigger life, a better life. And this happened again recently at our family's 4th of July barbecue potluck. This was exactly the kind of event that used to make me nervous and make me have dread around the weight gain afterwards. A potluck, lots of delicious food, desserts, people sharing food together. And this time, though, I participated, I enjoyed the meal, I even had dessert without guilt. But I also approached it intentionally. I made it my main meal for the day, and I ate until I was satisfied. And afterward, I went back to normal. And what was the result? I again maintained my weight. And I think that is an important lesson because sometimes success is not just losing another pound. Sometimes success is proving to yourself that you can live your life and still take care of yourself. As I get closer to the end of my weight loss journey, my focus is beginning to shift. I'm thinking more and more about long term weight maintenance. And honestly, I think maintenance is one of the most underrated parts of the entire weight loss conversation. Because losing weight is one challenge, keeping it off long term while also living a full and enjoyable life is another. For years, I thought success meant just seeing the number on the scale go lower and lower. I was obsessive about that for so long that maintenance always seemed like a place I'd never reach. But now, here I am. And I'm learning that success also means something else. trusting myself, knowing that one meal does not undo years of work, knowing that one celebration does not erase my hard won progress, knowing that I can now enjoy my life without fear. People sometimes ask me, what was the mental shift that finally made all this work? And my answer is actually a little different than people might expect. I don't think I suddenly discovered more willpower or found discipline. I had wanted to lose weight for decades. I had tried so many things. I had worked very, very hard. I had white knuckled my way through terrible hunger, and I endured endless frustration that I kept remaining fat and sometimes regaining more than I'd lost, no matter how hard I'd tried and how much I felt deprived doing it. What changed, though, was that I finally found the combination of knowledge, tools, and support that allowed my efforts to actually finally work. Understanding the biology behind obesity gave me hope, thanks to finding Dr. Jason Fung's work. Medication support helped me with the biological challenges that had held me back for many years. And learning approaches that worked with my body instead of constantly fighting against it changed everything. I didn't need to become a different person. I needed to understand what I was actually fighting and how to fight. The goal of this journey was never to spend my life avoiding celebrations. The goal was to create where I could participate in them, a life where I could a life where I could travel, explore, spend time with the people I love, and still take care of my health. If you have ever felt afraid of holidays, vacations, or special occasions because of your relationship with food, I would love to hear your experience in the comments. And if you're on your own health journey, please remember, you don't have to you don't have to wait until you reach your goal to start living. And next time, we'll talk about how I approached exercising even while I was still over 300 pounds. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to lose weight was not just to change the number on the scale. It was because I wanted to hike farther, explore more, and spend hours outdoors without my body limiting me. So I'll share what worked for me, what didn't, and how I gradually built up strength, stamina, and mobility. Thank you so much for joining me on 150 Pounds Down. Thank you. I'll see you next time.